and welcome to Find Your Nottingham Live, a virtual open day brought to you by the University of Nottingham. I'm Annabelle Rackham and I'm delighted to be back here where both Deepak and I studied, to tell you all about this brilliant university and everything it has to offer.
Hi everyone, I'm Deepak Kataria and it's great to be here hosting this event for all of you who are interested in postgraduate study. Annabelle and I have been both lucky enough to experience what Nottingham has to offer and how that can change your life and take you to the places you want to go.
Thank you for joining us from wherever you are in the world today, and we hope that this event will help provide you with all the information that you need to choose Nottingham as the place to study.
We will be hearing from key people across the university to tell you more about the things we know are important to you when making your decision. You'll hear from our support services, you'll hear from our students, and you'll also hear from the academics specializing in the areas you're most interested in.
Throughout the show today, you can submit any questions you have via the QR code that is now showing on the screen. We have a team working away behind the scenes who will be answering these for you during the event. If you're watching this on the university website, you can find out more about any of the topics we cover using the links in the schedule below.
Before we welcome our first guests, our Vice-Chancellor, Professor Jane Norman, would like to welcome you to the event.
Hello, I'm Professor Jane Norman, and it gives me enormous pleasure to welcome you to Find Your Nottingham Live here at the University of Nottingham. Wherever in the world you're tuning in from, we're delighted to have you with us here today. Thank you for taking the time to find out what makes Nottingham such a unique place for postgraduate study. We've designed this event with you in mind, so we hope you find it both informative and inspiring. Our institution is dedicated to academic excellence, world-leading research, and providing a transformative educational experience that will prepare you for the future. Our postgraduate courses are designed to unlock your full potential, propelling you towards your career goals. The skills and specialist knowledge you'll learn here will provide you with the perfect launchpad for whatever comes next. We're a member of the prestigious Russell Group of Universities and proud to be named a top 20 UK university in the latest QS World University Rankings. We also have a rich history of groundbreaking research. Nottingham is the birthplace of MRI, and the latest REF rankings placed us 7th in the UK for research power. If you ask me what's special about Nottingham, I'd have to say it's a vibrant, inclusive community we've created here, one that blends innovation with tradition. We're also a global university. We have campuses in China and Malaysia, while Nottingham itself is home to students from more than 150 countries. Our graduates are also highly sought after by leading companies worldwide. The 2024 High Flyers Graduate Market Report named us as the third most targeted UK university by the country's top employers. In fact, your success when you leave here is just as important to us as your time on campus. It's why our courses will equip you with the real-world skills, experiences and connections you need to get ahead. We also offer expert careers advice for life, meaning we'll be here whenever you need us. Here at Nottingham, you'll find beautiful, vibrant and diverse campuses, complete with cutting-edge facilities, all within easy reach of the historic city of Nottingham, a green city with a legendary past and a bright future. Choosing a university for your postgraduate study is a big decision, and we want you to know that you're not alone on this journey. Our dedicated staff are here to support you every step of the way. Today, you'll hear from our wonderful faculty members and current postgraduate students who will share their experiences and insights into life at the University of Nottingham. Although we may not be together in person, I encourage you to engage with us and ask any questions you may have. We want to ensure that you have a comprehensive understanding of what it means to be part of our community. As we begin today's event, I invite you to open your minds to the possibilities that await you here at Nottingham. We're excited to share our story and show you why we believe this is the right place for you to pursue your dreams. Thank you once again for joining us, and let's embark on this journey together. Enjoy the event.
Today's event focuses on law and social science. All the subjects included have been chosen because they complement each other as areas of interest or allow you to discover another relevant subject that you may not have considered before.
There are so many options available to you, so it's always worth spending a bit of time to see what else might inspire you. Have a look at the schedule to see what's coming up. Remember to ask any questions you have using the QR code. We'll be right back with our first guests after this.
So particularly for me, I wanted to explore UK especially. So I joined the Travel Society here in Nottingham. And as a part of the Travel Society, I've been to York, Bath, Oxford, Cambridge, Liverpool, and many other places which I've only read and sometimes watched on cinema. So being around these beautiful cities, trying to explore the history with the Travel Society has been one of my other favorite parts that I look back with a lot of fondness. And those fridge magnets that I brought from all these beautiful places, they look amazing on my refrigerator back at my accommodation. And I absolutely love all those fridge magnets. For any postgrad student, I would say the journey would not be linear. It will be ups and downs. So when you're going through any downs, you would need support. And for me, one of the backbones of support has been the legal skills team. As an international student, one might feel the shock of academia here, the requirements with regards to essays that we do, the examinations that we undertake, as they might be different to our home jurisdictions. So the legal skills team, what they do in a very concise way is to tell international students and also the home students how they can work better and meet the expectations of any particular module. For me, over the past 11 months, I have attended most of the sessions that legal skills team have conducted, right from what to expect in the examination, what to expect in the essays, how to do referencing, what kind of language you should use in the essays, how to do the research, and lastly, also how to digest the results when they are not in your favor. The legal skills team offers a one-to-one session for students to approach them. I have personally used that opportunity a couple of times to understand how I could better my results and also for my dissertation support.
I'm now joined by Dr. Matthew Windsor, Associate Professor in Public International Law. Welcome to you. So, first of all, I'd like to ask you about the areas of law that you can study at Nottingham and the different types of specialisms that exist.
Sure. So, we currently specialize in 5 primary areas in the law school, and I might kind of speak about them and maybe the highlight modules that you can take in them for a couple of moments. So, on the corporate side, we have an international business and commercial law program where you can study topics such as corporate finance law, corporate insolvency law, and global competition law and international business. We also have a cutting-edge program in the field of technology and intellectual property law, with very popular courses on subjects such as law, artificial intelligence, and robotics. And we actually at the law school have a law and tech lab where you're able to have exposure to kind of emerging technologies and robots as you're studying. On the kind of public international law side, we have programs which have been long-standing in the field of human rights law, where you can study subjects such as technology and human rights, business and human rights, children's rights, as well as a long-established public international law program where there are a range of subjects that you can study: international criminal law, international humanitarian law, international disaster law, which is an emerging field. But if you're coming to Nottingham and you're not particularly certain which of these you might like to do, we also have what is known as the Masters of Law, where you can choose from a range of modules across all of those programs, mixing and matching to put together a program that you're particularly interested in. Perhaps what I would say about all of the programs I've discussed is that students have the option to do a core module where every student taking that program is in one place at one time, a really great opportunity to build community amongst students who are interested in the same thing. And then you choose 5 subjects from a wide range of them. The other one that I should mention is a collaboration between law and sociology and social policy, which is an MA in criminology and criminal justice, where students have the opportunity to study issues at the intersection of human rights and criminal law.
And in terms of some of the world-leading research that the University of Nottingham is involved in, how can students benefit from that research?
Okay, so we have a long tradition of being very committed to research-led teaching. So the professors that you'll study with generally have a very focused research background in what you're being taught. One of the key ways that you kind of have exposure as a student to the research specialisms within the school is through having a particular supervisor appointed for your dissertation. So we are very careful to match expertise between what a student is passionate about and what a member of the school can kind of help support. More generally, though, we have a number of research centres at the School of Law, which tend to correlate quite nicely with the areas that students study in our postgraduate programs. So we have a long-established human rights law centre, a commercial law centre, a criminal justice centre, as well as some that perhaps don't directly align with the master's program, but one that students really enjoy attending seminars and events at. So we have a history of law and governance centre, for example. The last thing I would mention about those centres is that during a master's with us, there are often opportunities to engage in placements or internships that might be relevant to that area of study. So in the past, we've sent students to the World Bank in Washington, D.C., and more recently than that, we've had students undertaking research for various officials at the United Nations on issues such as climate change and human rights.
So there's lots of developmental opportunities, as you mentioned there. So how does that help get students into a career when they graduate, and what are some of the roles that they could be involved in?
It's a good question. So, I mean, at school, faculty and university level, there's a lot of support around employability. At the law school, we're very careful in the way we assess our students to offer what we describe as authentic modes of assessment that might be relevant to them in the workplace in the future. So rather than writing essay after essay after essay, you may be involved in advising a client or drafting a policy brief. To further support students, we also have an in-house legal skills team, which I think is particularly beneficial for students who are either studying law for the first time or perhaps come from an international background in terms of developing their legal skills while they're with us. The other thing that we're really strong on at the law school is taking advantage of our brilliant global alumni network. So we have a lot of connections with industry and the legal profession. And we often have guest speakers supporting our students from leading law firms, Clifford Chance, Freshfields, Hogan Lovells. But another thing I think that's really important to mention about our law programs is that it's a great credential even if you're not convinced that you want to be a lawyer. So there are amazing opportunities in government, NGOs, international organizations afterwards. And a lot of the events that we hold in the research centers are very much a kind of outreach exercise to expose students to a number of different kind of areas of practice after they graduate.
And is there anything extracurricular that students can do whilst they're studying that might, help them in the future?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, there are a huge number of student societies, both specific to the law school as well as more general university ones. So kind of thinking at law school level, there are kind of Amnesty International groups, as well as on the kind of corporate side, a range of different kind of student union groups that invite kind of barristers and leading partners from law firms to the law school to discuss that with them. I think it's also probably a good opportunity to mention just how beautiful the campus is. This is something that I know a lot of my students comment on when they first arrive in Nottingham. There are also world-class gym facilities. The David Ross Sports Village is amazing, as well as a lot of kind of arts and cultural experiences that students can get involved with on campus. So there's a lakeside arts facility that I really recommend to students as well.
Well, thank you so much. That was really great, and thank you for joining me today. We will be right back after this segment.
Joining me now is Dr. UI Shi, Associate Professor in the School of Education. Welcome, UI. So to start with, if you could tell us about the areas of education that Nottingham specializes in?
Thanks. We are a quite large school of education across the country. Our specialisms are organized around research centers and special interest groups. So for example, we have Center for Human Flourishing, Center for Educational Leadership and Management, Center for Research on Social Justice in and through Education, Center for Mathematics Education, Center for International Educational Research, and Learning Sciences Institute. We're also very good at gender and education, higher education, teachers and teaching, and post-compulsory and vocational education. So these are the specialisms we have in the school.
Great. And thinking about the learning experience, so what kind of teaching can students expect?
The students can expect both traditional teaching styles such as lectures and seminars, where we expect students to participate in interactive discussions, bring in their own knowledge, but also there are other innovative teaching styles, for example, those what we call experiential and reflective. So when we say experiential, we want to bring the students' personal life experiences and educational experiences into their teaching and learning. So a lot of our activities are centered around their own life experiences and professional knowledge. So the experiential part will be about bringing those into their teaching and learning. For example, we have some counseling courses where the students will experience being a counselor and also experience like mindfulness. We also have outdoor forest schools where we bring students to the outdoor activities. So these are some of the examples of the teaching style students will experience.
And if you think about career progression, how do you prepare students for work? And if you could also comment on what roles do graduates go into?
So in terms of preparing students for work, we focus both on professional knowledge and specialist knowledge in education to understand the role of education in the world, and also to consider the role of educators in teaching and learning. In addition to that, we also focus on transferable skills that would prepare students both within and beyond the educational industries. So for example, we focus on critical thinking and disruptive thinking to understand different perspectives in the world. And also we focus on time management and project design as such. So these are some of the ways we focus on when we develop students. On top of that, if students are interested in research careers, then we also offer research training so that students can move on to do a PhD, for example.
All great things. And finally, if you had to comment on what makes studying at Nottingham stand out, what would you say?
First of all, I would say it's the international experience, both in terms of the curriculum and the diversity of staff members, because we, in the School of Education, we have a very diverse staff team coming from all parts of the world. In addition to that, we have a very lovely campus. Nottingham is really known for its beautiful campuses. And then what I already have said, the wide range of research specialisms that you can experience and learn when you are in Nottingham. And on top of that is being able to interact with world-leading scholars and educators in the field.
That's great. Thank you for joining us today, UI. And that's everything from me today for you.
Thank you.
We'll be right back after this.
I love Nottingham, the home of Robin Hood. From the bright lights of Goose Fair to the peaceful nature of the Sherwood Forest woods. There's a feeling of togetherness, unity, pure, honest, love. And that feels great like a bright summer's day at the horses down by the lake at Colic. All I love Nottingham. The River Trent, the embankment, the Nottingham Carnival, different cultures dancing. The diversity, Just walking down Columbus Street on a Saturday. The two lions in the square stand tall with pride. And when the markets in town come alive, it gives me life. Listen, as the council house clock chimes, and depending on how many times, lets you know the time. I've been to concerts at the Motorpoint Arena, and I've been to concerts at the Nottingham Caves. I've been here all my life and I'm still amazed by this place. I love Nottingham. Sometimes I stare at Hockley's graffiti colourful walls, and sometimes I gaze at the deers running round Woolton Hall. Supreme thrills, from chilling up at Green's Mill or up at that castle on the hill. Nottingham, I love you, and I always will.
Visit Nottingham today.
My guest now is Simon Gosling, Professor of Climate Risks and Environmental Modelling. Welcome, Simon. So the first question to you is, if you could talk us through the courses you offer and how can students pick the right one for them?
So we offer 3 MSc courses. The first one is an MSc in Environmental Leadership and Management. And this is a program that is really targeted at people who are interested in going into broader scale environmental management. So they'll be thinking about careers where leadership in the environmental sector is particularly important. One of the unique aspects of that program is that there's an opportunity to also gain a level 5 certificate from the ILM, the Institute of Leadership and Management. So we find the students that go on that program very much focused on the leadership and management side of the environment. The second program that we offer is an MSc in Global Environmental Sustainability. This is a course that covers many of the aspects focused on environmental sustainability of the planet. So it's a bit broader than the Leadership and Management Masters. The focus is more on some of the environmental aspects, on understanding the processes involved, the ways we manage the environment as well, but it's more broadly focused on the concepts of sustainability. And then the third MSc that we offer is called Climate Change, Environment and Society. Here the focus is more on climate change specifically. So we're interested in how we manage the climate, how we understand what the risks are, and what the implications are for policy. So the students who would study the Climate Masters, for instance, are going to have a real specific interest in climate change and what it means for society and the natural environment.
That's really interesting. And what are the most exciting developments in sustainability and climate change? And if you also had to comment on how is Nottingham preparing students to thrive in this future growth areas?
One of the most exciting areas that covers all 3 of these programs is the concept of environmental protection. For many years now, decades, we've been significantly changing the planet. We've been obviously changing the climate, but other aspects of the environment as well. Our rivers, for example, have changed significantly. The land that we have and how we've changed that for different land uses has changed really massively. So there's a real opportunity with these master's courses to look and understand how that change has happened and what we can do to better manage it and protect it for the future. Another really interesting area is also around net zero. So there's a huge focus on achieving net zero globally. In fact, we have to do this to secure a good planet for future generations. And when I'm talking about net zero, we're talking about greenhouse gas emissions. And all three of the programs consider this really important issue. The third issue that I think is also really important is around justice. And this is something that all three programs also consider. We often talk about a just transition, which means transitioning towards a net zero economy in a way that benefits everyone, that is equal and just. And this topic is something that underpins all three of the programs because it's central to how you manage the environment and how you show leadership in it. It's a big part of the climate agenda, and it's also really crucial to ensuring future global sustainability.
Definitely. And since Nottingham is big on research, so how does the research conducted in the School of Geography influence the curriculum and benefit the student pursuing a master's degree here?
Well, we're very fortunate to have several world leaders in our school working in these specific areas. The vast majority of our teaching is research-led. So what students benefit from is very detailed case studies that are drawn upon our own expertise. So to give you an example, within my own research, I work very closely with a lot of international level policymakers on climate change. So in my research, I've helped support global level decisions on climate change, such as the annual United Nations Conference of the Party meetings. One of the things that I do in my teaching is go through that process. And even some of the assessments that I set are based on the kind of work that you would do if you were supporting international level policy. So we often make sure that the work we set for our students and what we teach them, the discussions we have, are very much directed by the work we do within our school. Moreover, within the school, we have expertise in fields such as water. So we have many experts who work on managing water resources from the local scale right up to regional, global scales. Things like how we plan our cities for the future. We also have expertise in biogeography and ecology and environmental ecosystems, which again is a really important aspect that flows through all three of the master's programs that we offer. And underpinning all of this is our general approach to understanding the environment and the role that humans play in shaping the environment and in improving the environment for future generations.
Finally, how do you prepare students for work, and what careers can graduates look into when they graduate from the school?
So our past students have gone into work in some really interesting areas. Past students have gone on to take on roles in the United Nations, for example. Others have worked for large organisations like AECOM and Atkins. And others have gone on to work in local governments and also in policy support. So the way that we've developed these three programs is to equip our students with the skills, the experience and the knowledge that they need to work within the environmental sector, whether it's in leadership and management, whether it's in sustainability, or if it's more on climate change. And the way that we do that is through having very detailed case studies that we will engage our students with through discussions in our classes, through seminars, for instance, also through the lectures that we provide that, as I've previously mentioned, are very much focused on research-driven examples. And then the other thing that we'll do is we will set assessments that are, in many cases, very practically based. So our assessments will reflect the kind of work that you would do if you were typically going to work in an area such as environmental consultancy, or if you were managing a sustainability team at an organisation, or maybe a policy advisor, for instance. And those kind of assessments are things like blogs, they are things like policy reports or summary cards, they would include posters, group presentations and other verbal presentations, and other written work that we've deliberately put together that means our students aren't just writing essays, they're actually doing pieces of work that directly reflect the kind of work that they would be doing once they've graduated from one of these master's courses.
Perfect. Thank you so much for all these amazing insights. We'll be right back after this.
I'm Rita Ojo and I'm studying MA International Relations. I'm from Nigeria and the educational system in Nigeria is quite different from that in the UK. It's just a little bit different though. Lectures and seminars are kind of looped together, so we have the seminars immediately after the lectures. But here we have different times for our lectures and seminars, and it took me a while to adjust to that, but I've learned to make up for that and prepare for my seminars. I decided to study this course because I was interested in how the world works, understanding government, economies, and how it affects the average individual in the society. And this is important because it helps us to predict the future, see what we can do better, know what we're doing wrongly, and how to adjust and adapt. And it's been very lovely learning this course. And I picked the University of Nottingham because I'd done my research and I saw that the University of Nottingham was a very good place to study. The environment was very conducive for studying. I searched on the student body and it feels like family. And I was also interested in studying with great minds at this university, so I really looked forward to that, and it's been like that so far. From my various modules, we've had to write research reports and policy briefs, and this would be like a path to learning how to be a policy analyst, because in writing a research report or a policy brief, you have to deal with raw data, that's like primary data, and you have to understand in-depthly the situation, more like a field work on the situation. Then you provide recommendations on the effective policies that could help resolve the situation. And before the recommendations, you have to look through what has been done, how it has been done, and what you think could be improved on. So I think this, and I believe this, would help me to be a better policy analyst.
I'm now joined by Dr. Chin Hee Lee, Associate Professor in Politics and International Relations. Welcome, Chin. So, if you can get started with the first question, can you tell me about the specialisms that are covered in politics and international relations?
So, thank you for your question. That's in our school, our biggest degree is MA in International Relations, and our second biggest degree is International Relations and Security. terrorism. And the third degree is international relations in combination with contemporary history. So in my school, actually, we covered wide range of international relations and also including international political economy. We also focus on the security issue, especially nowadays that there are so many unpredictabilities in terms of the world politics and conflicts. My school look into all different kinds of politics and conflicts and trying to discuss with especially PGT students what kind of the crisis, if you like, that we are facing in our contemporary world and life in that sense.
Great. And as you know that we have great research capabilities at the University of Nottingham. So how does the research conducted in the School of Politics and International Relations influence the curriculum and benefits the students pursuing these degrees?
Definitely. So all our teachers are researchers. We are pretty much emphasizing on a research-led teaching. All of our module conveners, the teachers, they are teaching what they are researching about. So for instance, I take myself as an example. I teach a MA course about globalization and geopolitics. And what I research is about the globalization's impact on the semiconductor supply chain and the geopolitics influence on the supply chain's formation or decoupling, discoupling, all that discussion, what I was focusing on my research, I took all of them into my teaching. So we are making sure our students will be able to receive most of the cutting-edge research as we are doing. And on top of that, in my school, we also have research centers to look into, for instance, the political theory, CRISP, and also the security studies, SWIT, and also different voters' behavior in democracy. That's comparative politics, and we call that Represent Research Center. And we also have the Taiwan Research Hub in my school, which is more interdisciplinary, but any research related to Taiwan, we are very much welcome. We hold regular seminars and academic conferences for students and staff to be engaged in. And we also have the students initiated their discussion of the colloquium in that sense. So we are very much research-led teaching in our school.
That gives a lot of perspective into the learning experience for the students. And how do you think about the career progressions? Like, how do we prepare students for work? And what careers can graduates go into?
So exactly now that we understand that it's very difficult for students of all graduates to get in a good job market. So while the students are with us, we have different assignments to prepare the students. For instance, we have a very short 1,000-word assignments to prepare students for their graduation job as for the policy analysis. So we think that we will be able to help the students while they are with us. Apart from the assignments, we also have a module which is International Relations in Practice. That is a placement module. That means that students are having the internship opportunity when they are starting with us. So we provide the connection with the local NGOs, local governments, and also think tanks in London, in Nottingham, to help our students to understand what is a real or simulated working opportunities when they are starting with us.
Do you have any examples of the organizations and companies that students usually join after graduating?
For instance, our students are most likely to join into the local city council or the NGOs or the think tanks in London, the Chatham House, for instance, and also the parliamentary advisory assistance, and some of our students entering BBC, some of our students entering the policy analysis think tanks or consultancies.
Is there something that you really enjoy about being a part of Nottingham?
Well, I think Nottingham is an environment with a lot of interesting opportunities that both students and staff are mutually enjoyed, if you like. I graduated from Nottingham myself as an MA student, international MA student, and also PhD. And now I stayed in Nottingham as a lecturer, teacher. That says pretty much about how much of my passion to Nottingham. And to take the most interesting, or to me, the most interesting part that I enjoyed is while I was a student, I was able to discuss with my teacher. Now I'm a teacher. I cherish every opportunity to exchange those ideas with my students. And I think that is what my school and Nottingham can offer to all of our students.
I think you have covered some great insights here. Is there anything else you would like to add?
I would like to say that for School of Politics MA degree, we welcome students coming from all different disciplinaries of their undergraduate degree, because we would like the students to have, of course, we welcome if you're coming from the politics or IR as undergraduates, but please don't worry if you are not undergraduate degree of IR or politics. It's great because you will be able to combine your existing understanding of your original degree with our discussion and analysis of politics and IR.
Thank you so much for joining us today, Chin. And we'll be right back after this. I'm now joined by Chi Chen, Assistant Professor in Criminology, and Libby Steele, Assistant Professor in Social and Public Policy. Welcome to you both. So if we can get started with the first question, please can you talk us through the courses you offer and how students can pick the right one for them?
Okay, at Nottingham, in our school, we offer 2 master's programmes, one in public administration and one in global social public policy. They are now more international based. We've looked at broadening the curriculum. In MPA, we cover leadership, strategy, performance, managing people, looking at strategic planning, financial planning, and we tailor our courses to employability or to further your career in academia. And we focus on like social justice as well. The global social policy, we look at global poverty, inequalities, and looking at welfare states globally, and embedded with Esping Anderson.
Chi?
Yeah, so the MA in Criminology and the Criminal Justice program is for applicants who is interested in crime, social justice, and criminal justice. So we cover a wide range of topics, including cybercrime, state violence, technology and criminal trial, and victimization. So we welcome undergraduates who wish to continue their study at a master's level. We also welcome practitioners who have relevant, working experience, but they are considering return to study. When designing this program, we have the learning needs of both groups in mind. So we will teach theories and independent research skills, but we also cover practical issues in criminal justice and the challenges raised by AI technology. And also, this program is co-taught by the law school and the sociology and social policy school. So it's perfect for applicants who are eyeing law and criminal justice related careers.
Perfect. And can you both also tell me about the skills students can gain that prepares them for work?
We do a wide range of assessments, from impact assessments, policy briefs, group debates, not so many essays now that students have to write, and again, it's preparing them for employability. A lot of the theoretical concepts we teach, they are used in the workplace, but also teaching them about critical thinking, language, communication, but most importantly, preparing them for a career in policies like NGOs or an academic career.
Yeah, and I think we do most of the things Libby mentioned as well in our program, but we also want to make sure that our graduates are prepared for artificial intelligence in workplace. That's why we designed assessments that would help them actually learn how to use AI tools more effectively. So basically, in the first part of the assessment, they will be asked to actually produce an essay using AI. And then in the second part of the assessment, they are asked to actually reflect on the experience of actually doing that and identify the limitations of AI technology and how they can better use it as a tool in future work. And also, we emphasize practical problem-solving skills. At the module level, students will be asked to write problem-solving reports. And for the final dissertation, they can also choose to do a transitional dissertation or an independent project or a professional reflection on their own role, potentially as a probation officer or prison officer or police officer. So there is that. And of course, we emphasize verbal communication skills, and they got ample opportunities to practice that through assessment and presentations.
And our students also have to do a dissertation, and they can choose from a gamut of policy topics: housing, education, poverty, family, anything to do with policy related, they can do that, and perhaps do a comparable analysis with another country.
These are definitely like some great skills to have on your CV for sure. So if you think about what are the places where they can take these skills, so what career options are there for graduates?
With us, there's obviously national and international policy organisations like NGOs, United Nations. A lot of our graduates have got jobs in Korea, China, at local and national level. We've also had some students who have gone to Oxford. One's graduated a few years ago. A student I supervise is at Oxford doing her DPhil now. And we've got some in Edinburgh and other universities. So it's to further your academic career. But a lot of students have got jobs at the International Labour Organization, Brussels, and the list goes on. Yeah, and employability is pretty great at Nottingham, as we know, for students.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, for the criminology and criminal justice program, because it's co-taught by 2 schools, so it's interdisciplinary in nature, which offers a wide range of career options for our graduates. They could choose to take roles in the police force, or the probation service, or the HM courts and tribunal services. They could choose to work for the Crown Prosecution Service as a caseworker, or actually for the civil service. And of course, there are plenty of research-oriented roles in government agencies and non-government organizations and volunteer groups as well. So it's quite a diverse pool to actually choose from. Yeah.
Thanks for those amazing insights. And what makes Nottingham the ideal place to study these courses?
I think it's a wonderful city. I come from Nottingham. I think our campus is the best in the country. I really do. I mean, we've got cafes, we've got hairdressers, we've got shops. We've got really good facilities, obviously, for teaching and learning. It's a very international element with the students, etc. A very good social experiences as well. And obviously, it's very historical with Robin Hood and his merry men, and the castle, the caves, good nightlife, good restaurants, which are quite not that expensive as well for students. Yeah, I think it's a wonderful experience coming to Nottingham.
Yeah, definitely. I totally agree with that, because I have stayed in the UK for 12 years, and 7 out of that 12 years is actually in Nottingham. So for me, it's a friendly and vibrant city with a very diverse population and wonderful food choices. So that's great, I think. And also the university itself offers a very globalized experience, as Libby mentioned. You would have teachers and classmates from other countries, and our colleagues, they bring not only their knowledge and expertise, but also their globalized visions and experiences to teaching. And in law and sociology, we have a very growing and vibrant PG student community that holds academic and social events regularly. So I think it's a very collegial and supportive and safe environment for students. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
Yes.
Yeah. Would you like to add anything?
No, I was just saying supportive and safe. I don't think that's very good. Very good. And obviously, we have a lot of scholars from all around the world as well. So yeah, it's a very enriched experience, I think, for students. Yeah.
Definitely. That gives like a lot of insights into what life can be at Nottingham.
Yeah.
So is there any like last comments that you have before we move on to the next session?
No, yeah.
Okay. I think we are pretty much covered then.
Yeah.
Thank you for being with us today, and we'll be right back after this. I am now joined by Dave Feely, Head of Direct Admissions, to talk us through the application process for postgraduate study. Welcome, Dave.
Thank you.
So, as we know, for most people applying to undergraduate courses, they can get advice from their schools or UCAS about the process. But at postgraduate level, there isn't the same structures in place. What advice would you give to someone looking to apply for a postgraduate course?
First of all, I'll try and think about what you're trying to get out of your postgraduate course. Whether you're looking for career progression, in which case, which course is going to provide that for you. Some people are studying postgraduate courses mainly for interest-based, in which case, take a look at the modules that you'll be sitting inside the course as well. There's lots of courses that have very similar titles, but the content is very different. So it's worth taking a look at the modules and making sure that course you'll be studying what you want to study. It's worth going onto websites to look at the entry criteria. So many of our courses will have an overall grade, it's an entry criteria, but there'll also be courses that have module specifics or subject specifics that you need to be studying in your current course. So it's worth going on to make sure that the course you're taking will prepare you correctly for the master's course that you want to study. But it's worth noting that with the entry criteria, you don't need to have met all the criteria before you've applied. The majority of our students will be applying to as well, still studying on their pre-year course, and we'll be able to make them a decision based on their progress to that point on their undergraduate level course.
So once an application has been submitted, what happens next?
Okay, so our team will pick that up and we'll start processing that based on the information that you've provided on your application form. You will have created a My Nottingham Hub account as part of your application process, and through that you'll be able to go back there whenever you want to and check the progression of your application. The team themselves are very experienced and they receive applications from qualifications all over the world. So the chances are they will have seen your qualifications before and understand them. But it's worth always checking your inbox and your spam box just in case we do have any questions, because if we do, that's how we'll choose to contact you. If you think that you might have missed a communication from us, if you've not heard from us, then you can go back on to check your My Nottingham accounts, and here we'll have uploaded any communication that we've tried to send you, so you can go on there and just to check. Once we've received all the information that's necessary for us, hopefully we'll be able to supply you with a conditional offer, and if we do that, we'll email that across to you, and that will contain all the information you need to know about what you need to do to meet those conditions. And also, if you're applying for one of our business school courses, it'll give you details about how you pay your deposit and the deadlines for you to do so.
And for students applying from a different country, is there anything else that they also need to think about?
Yeah, so students applying from different countries, you can either choose to apply independently or many of them choose to apply using an agent. It's completely personal preference and it's up to your own circumstances. When you're applying from overseas, you might want to look at what funding is available, and you'll be able to look at this by going onto our website where we'll list all our different scholarships that are available to you. But we won't just list our own as well. You can go on there and check external scholarships that are available, and there'll also be some search tools as well, so you can independently go away and research what might be the best option for you. There's a few other things that you need to consider. Some courses require ATAS for international students. If your course is one of those, once you've accepted our offer, we'll provide you with all the details and all the steps that you need to take to get your ATAS granted. But I would say it's important to start that process as early as possible. Sometimes that can take a while to come through, and we wouldn't be able to issue you with your CAS until you've had your ATAS granted. International students could also receive an English language qualification condition, in which case we'll list on our website all the different qualifications that are available. There's lots of different ones that we accept, and it'll also give you advice on what grade you need to achieve to meet that condition of your offer. Yeah.
Perfect. And if you think about results, so what should applicants do when they have just received their results?
So once you've received your results, it's important to get them to us as early as possible. Even if you haven't met the conditions of your offer, we would ask you to upload them and get them to us. There are circumstances when people who haven't fully met the conditions of their offer can still be accepted, but we won't know if that's the case unless you provide us with your results. To provide the results, you go to your My Nottingham account and you'll upload them. We'll ask you to provide a good quality scan, or if it's not in its original form, we would ask for a colour certified copy, and that's translated into English if not in its original form. If you have multiple conditions that are outstanding with your account, I'd also recommend not waiting until you have completed them all and uploading them together. Do that as and when you complete them, and that will just help smooth the process through.
And if I'm correct, like postgraduate research applications can have a few differences. Could you tell us more about those?
Yeah, so for postgraduate talk courses, mostly they'll start in the autumn. With research courses, you'll find that quite a few of them will have start dates throughout the year. If you're in a position where you might want to start earlier or later, then have a look at the course start dates and see what's available for you to apply to. One of the biggest differences with research courses is the research proposal or the research topic, and finding a supervisor that matches that research before you put through an application. if you go on our website, you can find all our different academics, research topics and research areas, and you can find out which one that matches you. And lots of our applicants will choose to contact them or email them in advance to talk through whether they have capacity to take on extra researchers or to talk through their proposal before they submit their application. If you know what funding that you're going to have at that point, it's also a good idea to include that, because researchers do have a small capacity, so any extra information that you can give them is beneficial to that process. You will also find that some supervisors will advertise studentships on our website. If you're applying for these, they have different application processes to a normal postgraduate research application. So it's worth just taking time to go through that process and make sure you understand it and do everything that you need to do. And other research opportunities or other funding opportunities, you might want to look at different research councils. And again, they'll have their own application processes. This will all be detailed on their websites and it will be quite complex, but it's just worth taking the time out to make sure you understood everything before submitting those applications.
And if you had one piece of advice for anyone considering an application, making an application, what would that be?
So there will be deadlines on our website for pretty much every part of the application process. We'll open for new applications the 1st of June, so that's about 15-16 months before the start date of the course. But my biggest piece of advice was to do everything as early as you possibly can. So although there will be deadlines, things like courses will close before the deadlines if they become full. Some processes like ATAS or applying for visas can take longer than you expect. So if you're in a position to start part of the process, don't delay. Try and avoid any disappointment that you might have by something closing or by something not coming through in time.
Thank you so much for this informative session, Dave. And we'll be right back after this.
Welcome Teresa Cochrane from the Careers and Employability Service, who'll be talking us through the support available to postgraduate students to help them with the next step in their careers. Welcome to you, Teresa. So first of all, what's some of the support that you offer to both students and graduates?
So we are a really well-resourced team overall, the Careers and Employability Service. We have about 80 staff members supporting our students. So within that, we can offer a range of support. If students don't know what they want to do, they can come and see us. We can help them with diagnostic tools to help them to figure out their personality styles, their preferences, their interest areas. And from that, we can help them to direct them into the careers that might suit them. We also offer a range of appointments that students can book into, whether that's online or in person. And that will help us to kind of talk to students about the things that might support them in their chosen career. So if they don't know what they want to do, we can help them work that out. If they really have a clear idea, we can help to point them to some of the resources, events, and extracurricular activities that might help them. In addition to that, we have lots of support in terms of our events. So our students can book onto employer events where they can meet employers, network with them, find out about the industries that they're interested in. We also offer support in terms of workshops from our career development staff. So if you are struggling perhaps in interview skills or with making applications, we can talk you through how to do that in the most effective way. And in addition to that, we have support resources that can help with all aspects of the recruitment process. So from interview skills, CVs, employer testing, we even have AI-driven CV review software that our students can use.
And does the university help students connect with potential employers?
Yes. So if you are a postgraduate student or maybe an international student, you might have been to careers fairs in overseas universities. It works slightly differently in the UK. We have a range of careers fairs that our students can attend. It won't be a process of offering our students jobs on the spot like it might be in campus recruitment overseas. I know that takes place in China and India. In the UK, it's more about understanding the roles, thinking about how that recruitment process will take place, all the different aspects within that, and maybe how our students can prepare for that. So, for example, some of our employers will come on campus with recent graduates, talk them through what it's like to work in that organisation, the culture, the expectations. They might even bring in something like gamification assessments so that our students can practice those at our careers fairs, and really just to understand what it might be like to work with that organisation. We are actually the third most targeted university in the UK by some of the top employers in the UK. That was from some research last year that came out. So that means that lots of the top employers are actually on campus in our fairs. Those can range from our finance management fairs to veterinary schools to science, technology and engineering. So there's a whole host of different fairs that are available for all of our students. In addition to that, employers often come on campus and offer events to help our students with skill development. Students can book onto that through our online portal. And we also have lots of ways that our students can engage with employers. So we offer micro internships, which are 2-week placement opportunities where students can undertake a project just for 2 weeks with an employer, gaining skills in research, analytical skills, communication skills, team working, and maybe just meeting a deadline on time as well. Postgraduate Placements Nottingham is a scheme that we run in the university specifically for postgraduates. That would offer our students about 100 to 200 hours of work with an employer, and we're really aiming for those higher level skills, so analytical skills, research, being able to independently work on a project for an organisation. So they're great ways, they're paid opportunities and great ways for our students to engage with employers. In addition to that, we also have other in-curricular and outside of curricular activities. So some of our students will choose to do their dissertation as a project for an employer. So they will undertake research for an employer, solve a problem that they might have, but also gain credit in their course for that kind of activity. And we also offer activities outside of the course. So we have a programme called our Digital Marketing Academy. So that is a programme where students work for about 3 months. They'll gain qualifications in things like digital skills, search engine optimization, maybe Google Analytics qualifications. They'll also work with employers who are working in the digital marketing space to gain insights and experience. And then they'll at the final stage of that project, they'll work with that employer to solve a problem for them. There's another programme we have called the Nottingham Consulting Challenge, and within that, that's a 6-week programme, a chance for our students to work in a group project with employers to solve a problem for them. So that would be getting a chance to work with lots of other students from across the university, developing communication skills, team working, analytical skills, producing a presentation right at the end of that and alongside a report. So there are so many opportunities. Our students won't be able to do all of them, but they will hopefully be able to fit something in around their studies.
And what are some of the resources that they can access from the Careers Service whilst they're studying?
Yeah, we've got a really good wealth of resources for our students. So these can range from anything like the diagnostic tools I talked about earlier. So that might be the Myers-Briggs type indicator, personality profiling. A lot of our careers consultants are trained in strengths profiling as well, so that's a way that we can help students to understand themselves better. We also have some more practical resources to help with things like recruitment and selection processes. So we've invested in AI CV reading software. That's really helped our students to understand how their CV might be read by an employer, and to hopefully help them to pass through that process more easily. It's also helped the careers team to understand what employers are doing in terms of screening those CVs and applications. So that's one aspect. We also then have employer testing software, so our students can get experience of doing situational judgment tests, which are very common with employers, numerical tests, logical reasoning, a whole host of different assessments that might be presented to them in a recruitment exercise. They'll do the assessment, find out whether they are going too quickly and not very accurately, or vice versa. They'll also get feedback on their answers, and that will allow them to hopefully get the right answer next time. There's lots of feedback on what the correct answer might be. So hopefully that will allow our students to increase their performance in employer tests. We have video interview resources, which again give AI feedback, but also feedback from one of our careers consultants. And those video interviews can be tailored around specific job roles. So if a student's going for a specific job, it's actually going to be a video interview. We can tailor that interview to be a realistic kind of simulation of what might happen. That will always be subsidised with feedback from our careers consultants to make sure that students can really improve their performance in things like interviews.
And do you offer any support for international students or students that don't want to work in the UK when they graduate?
Yes, we have some specific support packages that will help our students if they are looking for work in the UK but don't have the permanent right to work in the UK. It will help them to identify at least 300 employers who have been hiring consistently international graduates over the last 3 to 4 years. That will cover a range of different sectors. We are also well versed in visa and immigration rules, so we work closely with immigration advisors, solicitors, and also with the visa and immigration team within the university. So we make sure that all of our staff are really well trained in that area of work, so we can provide information to our students to really help them to maximise their chances of being employed within the UK under the rules and regulations that are in place. If you're wanting to work outside the UK, we also host a range of events, information and resources support. So we have a package of support which will allow our students to see things like CV conventions, labour market information for lots of different countries and cities overseas. That will help them to then make their applications more effective. And we build relationships with lots of overseas employers. So, for example, next month we're hosting the Asia Career Insights programme for our students. That's 4 days of employer talks from Chinese employers, those from Southeast Asia, Hong Kong and Singapore. So lots of opportunities for our students, even if they want to work overseas. We regularly also host information sessions to our students about working overseas. So we have a China Connect, India Connect and Africa Connect programme that I've been involved in, and that has involved employers and people with labour market insights for overseas countries to come back and provide advice to our students and to our graduates as well.
Teresa, thank you so much for joining me today, and we will be right back after this. I'm now joined by Liz Havel, Business Support Manager, to tell us more about accommodation options for postgraduate students. Hi Liz.
Hi.
So my first question, how do I book my postgraduate accommodation through the accommodation services if I'm coming to the University of Nottingham?
So the best thing to do would be to visit our accommodation website. So it's nottingham.ac.uk/accommodation. And there's lots of helpful information on there about how postgraduates can apply for their accommodation. Also, we've got some advisors that can support. So if they want to get in touch, we've got a contact us section. Any questions about the process, about applying, or any other information that they want to ask or consider, then they can get in touch either using an online form on our website. They can have a one-to-one Teams chat and send us an email, or we've got a live chat function on our website as well. Applications open in mid-April, so postgraduate students can apply anytime from mid-April.
And what are the benefits of booking your postgraduate accommodation through the accommodation services itself?
We would always recommend postgraduates book through the University of Nottingham accommodation services for the simple reason that we've got such a big portfolio of accommodation. That's both accommodation that's owned and managed by the University of Nottingham and carefully selected accredited partners that we work with. We've got a real good mixture of on-campus and off-campus accommodation, and booking through us means that students, postgraduate students, will secure the best prices available and live pricing at that time for our accommodation.
And in terms of, where postgrads are going to live, are they together with undergraduates, or is there any sort of separation?
So we have a mixture. We have postgraduate accommodation specifically, and then we have accommodation where it is mixed with postgraduate students and undergraduate students. But what I would say is where that accommodation is mixed, we try to keep those students in clusters, so all postgraduate students would be put together in that accommodation. So although it would be a mixed site, it would be specifically postgraduate students that would be placed together.
And in terms of what facilities are available, is there catering or self-catering options, and how does it work in terms of like kitchens shared or to the students themselves?
Okay, so with our postgraduate students, it's self-catered accommodation that we offer. I would always say check our website for specific facilities that are available in that accommodation. They can also have a virtual tour of all accommodation types, so it's always well worth just having a check. There is shared kitchens, there could be private kitchens, again depending on the accommodation. So it's always worth checking. Also, we have a meal pass app, so postgraduate students, even though they're self-catered, they can download the Meal Pass app, and it's a cashless system where they can purchase food and drink on campus outlets, and they get offers and discounts that are on that app as well. So if they did want to have some form of catering that's on campus, then they could have a look at the Meal Pass app, but otherwise it tends to be self-catered.
And in terms of where students will be living, how far are the accommodation options from the teaching and departmental buildings?
What I'll say is that we're an on-campus university, and we've got that on-campus accommodation. So we've got accommodation that can be selected that's very close to academic buildings. We've got off-campus accommodation. You could stay on one campus but study on another campus. So it really is choice. So I would always say check where the academic building is, check where the accommodation is, and you'll be able to do a check on the internet just to find out what the exact distance is for that property. But everything is accessible within reason. So we run if you are further out and you're off campus, we've got the hopper buses that run between all of the university campuses, so Sutton Bonington, Kings Meadow campus, University Park, Jubilee, the Royal Derby Hospital. So students have got access to those buses, and we've got great public transport in Nottingham as well. But I would say that most things are fairly close to academic buildings, but it just depends on the specifics of which accommodation and which academic building.
And how can students find out how much each different type of accommodation will cost them?
So again, I would say visit our website, so nottingham.ac.uk/accommodation. We've got all of our pricing on there. You can filter through accommodation, so you can filter specific postgraduate accommodation, and you will get all of the licence terms. You'll get the virtual tours and the pricing that's on the website. Postgraduate licences tend to be based on 51 weeks. So it's always worth having a look at the licence term, and depending on what you want from your accommodation would depend on the cost of the accommodation. But we try to offer reasonable accommodation for most budgets. And once again, if students, postgraduate students, are booking through the university website, then they've got access to the best prices at that time.
And what's in place to help students settle into postgrad life once they're settled in their accommodation?
So once they're settled in accommodation, we've got our residential experience team that are ready to support them. So our residential experience team, they can run activities, social activities. They can get postgraduate students involved in networking with other students and making friends. And then also we've got a dedicated wellbeing team. So there's lots of support once settled into our accommodation. We've got our welcome points for our halls teams. So if postgraduate students are staying on campus, they're able to access support through our welcome points. Our third parties have dedicated teams of staff that are available to support security and residential support staff.
Liz, thank you very much for that. And we will be right back after this. It's now time for us to wrap up the event. We hope that you've enjoyed it as much as we have, and that you've now got a greater feel for what studying at the University of Nottingham is like.
There was a lot of information in the event today, but don't worry. You'll be able to watch this video back on the same link you used to access today's event shortly after it finishes.
If you've asked any questions, you'll get a direct reply from our team. So keep an eye on Slido for a response if you haven't had one already. And remember, you can find out more about anything we've covered today by visiting the website.
Thank you for joining us today, and we hope to see you at the University of Nottingham very soon.